Good evening, everyone. My name is Isabella Perez, Community Liaison Coordinator for the City of Socorro. Thank you all for joining us today for this important meeting regarding the red beetle infestation affecting our community. I want to extend a warm welcome to our mayor and council members whose leadership and commitment to addressing this issue are greatly appreciated, as well as representatives from the offices of State Representative Mary Gonzalez and Senator Cesar Blanco. As we gather here, it's vital that we discuss the challenges posed by this infestation and explore potential solutions together. Your input is invaluable as we work towards protecting our environment and ensuring the health of our community. In a few moments, we will hear from guest speakers, Dr. Robert T. Puckett and Dr. Jose Santiago Gonzalez from Texas A&M AgriLife Extension on the current situation and what steps we can take moving forward. In a bit, I would like to welcome Mayor Ivy Avalos to the podium. Y ahora en español, ¿ok? Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Isabela Pérez, coordinadora de Enlace Comunitario para la Ciudad de Socorro. Gracias a todos por unirse hoy para esta importante reunión sobre la infestación de escarabajos rojos que afecta a nuestra comunidad. Mientras nosotros reunimos aquí, es vital que discutamos los desafíos que presenta esta infestación y exploremos posibles soluciones juntos. Su opinión es invaluable mientras trabajamos para proteger nuestro entorno y garantizar la salud de nuestra comunidad. En unos momentos escucharemos al orador invitado, el Dr. Robert T. Puckett y el Dr. José Santiago de Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, que nos hablará sobre la situación actual y los pasos que podemos tomar a futuro. Ahora le doy la bienvenida al podio a la alcaldesa Ivy Avalos.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to discuss the ongoing red flower beetle infestation. As many of you know, these pests can significantly affect our grain products, and they can lead to detrimental home damage and financial loss. In this meeting, we'll review the current status of the infestation, and I'll leave that up to our guests. Dr. Puckett, there he is behind you. And I urge you to ask as many questions as possible so that we can all find out where this is coming from in our city. I know it's coming from different areas around the county, Tornillo, Fabens, it's moving towards San Elizario, but we do have a plan, we have an action plan. We had some meetings with the county, the state as well, and we're talking about this action plan. Actually, we do have a meeting tomorrow as well. So just please listen to the experts on this and ask as many questions as possible. Thank you.
And now I welcome to the podium Mayor Pro Temp and District 3 Representative Rudy Cruz Jr.
Good evening y muy buenas tardes a todos por estar aquí con nosotros. Veo que hay muchos de la comunidad que tienen interés en su comunidad y las cosas que están pasando ahorita. Y estamos aquí para darles sus respuestas de las preguntas que tienen. Yo sé que es algo muy difícil. Yo llegar a mi casa de mi trabajo y ver a mi esposa limpiando todos los días los animalitos que están en la casa, en el pantry. Hemos tenido que tirar comida también nosotros, pero como líderes de la ciudad no podemos sentarnos ahí llorar. Lo que tenemos que hacer es buscar solución. Y yo nomás puedo hablar de las cosas que yo he hecho. La alcaldesa habla de unas juntas que van a tener. Yo no he sido parte de esas juntas. Espero que me dan esa información hoy, en esta tarde, en el mes de septiembre, porque yo vivo en el Distrito 3, en el área de Socorro, por la calle Socorro y Cebú. Ustedes saben muy bien que Hay mucha cáscara de nuez ahí que tiraron. Quiero dejar claro que eso no fue la ciudad de Socorro, no fue El Paso Water, Lower Valley Water District, no fue nuestro proveedor de agua. Lo que pasa es que esos 22 o 23 acres pertenecen a la ciudad del Paso, el otro municipio, El Paso Water Utilities. Yo paso por ahí todos los días y yo pienso que este problema no lo teníamos hasta que empezaron a esparramar. Yo miré las lomas. Cuando se empezó a esparramar, hasta miré los pájaros. ¿Por qué? Porque tienen un buffet. They had a buffet of bugs. Pero al mismo tiempo, no podemos echar la culpa a nadie. Hay que buscar solución. Cuando yo me di cuenta que esa propiedad era de El Paso Water Utilities, yo me senté con los directores de operaciones y sin quejarse, sin decir nada, ellos me dijeron, dime cómo, dónde y cuándo y lo haremos. Lo que pasa es que la ciudad de Socorro no tenemos, how do you say jurisdiction in Spanish? Eso. Sobre esa área ni el tipo de operación que maneja la ciudad del Paso. Así es que sentando nosotros con ellos, hablamos con ellos y les dije, sabes de que yo no soy un experto, yo no sé que al momento de entrar con una máquina van a estorbar el área y a lo mejor van a empezar a volar, yo no sé. Así es que ellos también tienen que tomar en cuenta todas las cosas y posibilidades de lo que puede pasar. Entonces, no sé si han visto, ya empezaron a echar veneno allí en su área. ¿Sí? El siguiente paso es sacar toda esa cáscara de nuez. La razón por que se usa la cáscara de nuez es por lo que se llama dust mitigation, para que no empiece con los aires, para que no vaya la tierra para las casas o para que no haga polvo. Al mismo momento, la cáscara de nuez lo usan para controlar las hierbas. ¿Sí? La semana pasada yo puse una agenda item en la Junta del Concilio de ya no permitir el uso de cáscara de nuez aquí en Socorro, en el área de Socorro, porque yo sé que mucha gente lo usan para usar en sus patios o en sus driveways. Ya no se va a permitir. Bueno, de hecho, los miembros de la ciudad, de staff, los que trabajan para nosotros, van a escribir una ordenanza, ¿sí? Ayúdenme porque el inglés no es mi primer idioma. Para poder poner algo en blanco y negro, para que ya no se permite. Yo sé que el estado de Texas, bajo el Departamento de Agricultura, they have halted the hauling of pecan shells right now, for the moment, I believe. They put a halt on hauling or the movement of the Sí, porque, y quiero dejar en claro también, porque esta área del Paso, donde vivimos nosotros, lo que es Fairbanks, Tornillo, Clint, Socorro, Sanelli, no tiene culpa los rancheros que tienen the pecan orchards. Ellos no tienen la culpa. They grow here and that's it. Toda la cáscara de nuez viene de afuera. Y es lo que están buscando ahorita de dónde viene, qué está pasando. Lo que pasa ahorita que ni el estado de Texas, ni las entidades de gobierno aquí en el condado del Paso, no existe la ley ahorita para poder controlar esas compañías que tienen toda la cáscara de nuez en sus bodegas, para ver si tienen animalitos y todo eso. Yo pienso que con el action plan que habla la alcaldesa, viene ya muy pronto algo así, que es que vamos a programar algo para que hay reglas para la gente que vende toda esa cáscara de nuez, pero esa cáscara de nuez no es del Paso. Y desafortunadamente nos pegó a nosotros porque nuestros vecinos echaron bastante allí, pero esa nuez no es del Paso. Y no es culpa de la ciudad, no es culpa de ustedes, no es culpa de nadie, pero yo sé que han batallado, yo sé que han tenido que tirar comida, es muy duro. Apenas tenemos para comer, apenas tenemos para pagar la renta. Hay familias que han tenido que ir a quedarse unas noches en un hotel por tan fuerte que les pegó. Pero Quiero también darle las gracias a la comisionada Ileana Holguín, que está aquí con nosotros, que también representa esta área del Condado del Paso, porque hoy en la mañana ella también puso una agenda item para traer fondos en la cantidad de $25,000. No es mucho, pero es para el veneno que podemos usar. Ustedes lo pueden usar en sus casas y también sus negocios, pero todavía tenemos que entender que hay muchas reglas de cómo no nomás es comprar paletas de veneno y ahí les va, vecinos, así no funciona. Tenemos que seguir las reglas, especialmente del condado, de la ciudad y del estado, porque al nosotros entrar a propiedad privada como ciudad, es muy fácil decir, bueno, pues ¿por qué no fumiguen aquí en esta área? Es muy fácil decir eso, pero there's a lot of liability. Hay mucho riesgo y al mismo tiempo yo no quiero usar sus dólares de impuestos, porque los impuestos que ustedes pagan, en gastarlo en una casa o una propiedad, se le tiene que gastar en cada propiedad aquí en Socorro. No es bastante, no es suficiente y no es justo para ustedes hacer esos gastos. Y como les estaba diciendo, al entrar a una propiedad privada, echar veneno es algo muy peligroso. Nosotros no somos expertos. Si le cae a la comida de un perro o sus gatitos o sus animales, entonces nosotros vamos a ser responsables por eso. Y no podemos hacer eso. Pero aquí están los expertos y vamos a darle las respuestas de lo más, the best way that we can. De la mejor manera, pero aquí estamos poniendo la cara, no estamos escondiéndonos, porque nosotros no vivimos allá en la montaña, allá con los ricos, ¿ves? Aquí vivimos aquí en Socorro con todos ustedes. Aquí vivo ya al cruzar la calle. Yo también como con tortilla y pan, igual que ustedes. Pero ahorita voy a pasar el micrófono a who's next. I think we can open up the floor for questions after the presentations, because I can talk and talk. Yo puedo hablar por mucho tiempo. I want to allow for the Commissioner Ileana Holguín to come up to the podium at this point. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Somebody can have a response or a question.
Yes, sir.
Usted dijo que ese terreno es de la ciudad de Paso,
Yes, sir.
pero ese terreno está en el condado, en la ciudad de Socorro.
No, sir. No, es que lo que pasa, yeah, de hecho, the property line or the jurisdictional boundaries of Socorro, they end on that fence. There's a fence right there, and there's signs that say El Paso Water Utilities. So they own all that property. Y la ciudad del Paso, créalo o no, they even own property on this side of the county, but it belongs to the city of El Paso. So that's what I meant, that we're not able to go into, if the city of Socorro was to enter that property, si nosotros entraríamos esa propiedad, it would be a violation and we would be trespassing. We wouldn't even be able to send in our own professionals to study their fields. Like if we wanted to send our professionals, hey, can you go see if there's any of those bugs in there? We can't without their permission. Se requiere permiso y por eso la solución que estamos buscando es gobierno a gobierno, porque está afectando a todas las comunidades, no nomás Socorro, ahora Sanelli, partes del Paso, Fabens y Clint. Y tenemos a los profesionales aquí que nos puede darnos todas las respuestas. Well, see, that's something different.
Somebody made a mistake, somebody did something illegally. To me, it's illegal what they did. It's not right, and we should sue the city of El Paso and compensate the 11,000 household members of this community. It is not about the city of Socorro paying for it. It's the city of El Paso should pay for it, and they should pay and compensate the 11,100 household in the city of Socorro.
Yes, sir.
This is unfair. This is not right. You say let's not blame anybody. Hell yes, let's blame the El Paso Water Utilities. Let's blame them and sue them and compensate us for all the work and all the spends we're doing, to live properly here in this community.
Yes, sir. I understand
your job. I think that the job of the city council, mayor and city council, and the city manager and the city attorney should file a lawsuit.
we can, yeah, we can sit here and search all avenues. I understand your frustration. I also share the same sentiments that you, but I have to, I have to be a leader right now in my role to find the right solutions. But also keep in mind that attorneys cost money, and that's your taxpayer money that's going to pay for the attorneys. Well, that's right. That's an avenue we haven't explored. Right now, I need to take care of you all. Right now, we need to take care of you guys. Right now. Oh, that's why we're all here and we're having this meeting here to let you know what we've been working on and what we're trying to do to help make it easier for you all. It's very easy to wave a magic wand and get rid of the bugs. As much as I want to, we don't possess that. We need to be realistic and find any and all solutions and funding sources that are not going to affect the city's budget right now at the moment.
Con todo respeto para la autoridad de nuestra ciudad, a cada uno de ustedes, creo que deslindarse de la responsabilidad de la ciudadanía nos hace solamente sentir que no valemos nosotros para ellos. Entonces, no es que estemos pidiendo algo fuera de lugar. Estamos pidiendo una solución para el problema que nos está acabando día con día. La paranoia emocionalmente, mentalmente, estamos siendo todos los días, día y noche, estamos siendo aludidos por estos bichos que al final de cuentas la ciudad dice, nosotros no podemos hacer nada. Creo que si ustedes como dirigentes de la ciudad pudieran decir, ¿sabes qué?
Thank- Gracias. Thank you. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Very important to each and every citizen of Socorro, because yes, we do have the right to be protected. Our environment is important, and there has to be responsibility coming from somebody. And that person, or persons, or company, or whatever, whoever, like we think it is, I'm not going to say until we get clarity. But I believe that we do need to make sure that we demand an answer, and if they continue to say we don't know, then we will have to do further research, get an attorney, and file a lawsuit against that responsible person.
Sí, señora. Buenas tardes.
Yo me llamo Norma Pimentel. Oh, está bien, pues no necesito uno. Yo me llamo Norma Pimentel. Ok, yo creo que muchos de ustedes han mirado todos los videos que he puesto en Facebook y en TikTok. Mi casa está invadida completamente. Todos los junté en 3 días. En 3 días. ¿No se ve bien? Ok, déjenme enseñárselos bien. Y a mí me dicen que en el Facebook todos me ponen ejemplos y me dicen que haga, que ponga veneno, que eche vinagre, Es bien peligroso estar mixeando químicos, estar echando venenos, porque tengo animales. Tengo mi esposo, mi hija que va a la escuela, que no dormimos. Estos son 2 días nada más. Ahorita mi ayudanta que me les enseñe. Entonces, la cosa es esta. Sí hemos gastado bastante dinero en fumigar, hemos gastado dinero en tirar comida, tengo un restaurante que está muy afectado. Mi casa está cruzando, haga de cuenta que ahí está la Socorro Road y ahí está mi casa. Entonces, eso es lo que junté en 2 días. Están muertos, no se preocupen, porque cuando los sofoqué, se mueren. Y si ustedes van a mi casa ahorita, yo les puedo enseñar esa misma cantidad. En mi cama, en mi baño, cuando voy a hacer pipí en la noche, me aseguro que no haya nada en el baño, que no esté nada flotando. Y me duermo con calzón y una blusa para no traer tanta pijama. Y cuando me levanto de hacer pipí, hay 4, hay 5. Me hace pensar de dónde están saliendo. O sea, en serio, estoy como traumada. Me baño y trato de limpiar el shower y no hay nada. Y cuando ya acabo, hay muchos. En mi cabello, en mis oídos, o sea, es algo bien incómodo, es tan incómodo. Mi relación con mi marido, tenemos que tener mucho cuidado porque en la cama hay animales. O sea, la comida, los trastes, todos hemos pasado por esto, pero y sí pican. Alguien puso que no pican, claro que pican. Y yo a uno de los especialistas los invito a mi casa que se queden una noche nada más, para que vean. Y ya hay de todos tamaños, uno no los ve, pero ya cuando con el teléfono se acerca hay muchos chiquitos, muchos.
Quisiera aclarar el punto de si pica o no pica.
Sí pican. Muerden, ¿sí? Muerden y dejan una roncha roja. Sí. Todos los días. Ahora, lo que yo quiero saber, ¿por qué Cuando empezaron estos animales, yo reporté aquí a la ciudad, me pidieron que por favor mandara un fax con fotos, o ahí van a enseñarle, mire. ¿Sí los miraron los animales, todos los que saqué?
Sí.
Entonces la pregunta es esta. Cuando empezaron los animales a salir, yo hablé aquí a la ciudad, primero hablé a la ciudad del Paso. Y de ahí me dijeron que el problema era de Socorro. Aquí en Socorro me pidieron que mandara un fax o que mandara fotos. Entonces dije, no, yo se los llevo los animales. Dijeron, no, mándeme fotos. Tengo el fax que mandé con las fotografías y mandé hace 3 meses. 3 meses, ¿por qué ha durado tanto tiempo Socorro en hacer algo? Ya entendí que dijo que no nomás pueden entrar, pero qué fácil entraron ellos a poner eso allí. O sea, fácil. Ahora, muchos, ustedes, yo no sé si se dieron cuenta que a ese terreno entraban trocas y se llevaban la nuez. Se llevaban la cáscara de la nuez. Por eso es que la nuez se desparramó por todos lados. Por eso. Otra cosa también es bien raro, atrás del terreno, ahí tenemos un río bosque, que es un lugar, un santuario para pájaros, para animales, es una reserva. Yo no entiendo por qué no se fijaron en la calle Socorro, que estaba toda llena, invadida de pájaros muertos. Y no eran tanto de los pájaros que los carros le pegaban, eran pájaros que estaban infestados, que los animales se los comieron. O sea, no me pueden dejar, o sea, todos los pájaros eran, o sea, cientos de pájaros. Y tanto pájaro muerto. Y cuidan los animales. O sea, ¿cómo es posible que no hicieron nada? Que no se dieron cuenta si todos los días todos pasamos por allí. ¿Por qué permitir 3 meses de que a todos nosotros, o sea, todos estemos pasando por esto? Es increíble. Tantos años viviendo aquí que nunca se había visto algo así. Ahora, ¿por qué tenemos que pagar hoteles? ¿Por qué tenemos que, mi hija que va a la escuela no duerme, mi esposo se levanta bien temprano y por qué cansado, estamos agotados? Ahora, yo hablé con las personas que vinieron de Agriculture, eran 4 oficiales que fueron a mi casa y ellos vieron lo mismo. Ahí estuvieron, tomaron fotos. ¿De qué me sirve que tomen fotos y vean y todo? Si lo único que me dijeron, nos avisaron hace 3 días. 3 días. Ya tenemos 3 meses. Hace 3 días, dijo, sí, nos dijeron, vinimos y aquí estamos hoy. Fueron a mi restaurante, nos levantamos a las 2:30 de la mañana para entrar a trabajar. ¿Para qué? Estoy pagando extra para que me ayuden a limpiar. Todos los días se limpia, se desinfecta. Claro que están comiendo la gente, gracias a Dios no ha caído nada en la comida, pero ya para la mañana hay muchos animales en las mesas. O sea, es algo bien insoportable, es algo bien feo. Que si me ha afectado a mi negocio, sí me ha afectado. Claro que sí, porque la gente se da cuenta. Ahora, la solución. Los oficiales que vinieron me dijeron que no era veneno lo que estaban echando, que estaban echando un líquido para aflojar la nuez, porque la nuez está compactada y se tiene que mover. Era un líquido que no podían echar veneno por el medio ambiente, que no se puede usar cualquier veneno. Entonces, ¿qué hicieron? Sí, andaban echando un líquido, empezaron a rastrillar para aflojar la nuez. Después dijeron que la van a levantar y se la van a llevar y la van a quemar. Pero, ¿y todo lo que hemos pasado? Y todavía ahorita, todavía está allí. O sea, cualquier abogado que quiera demandar va a agarrar ese caso. ¿Por qué? Porque está toda la evidencia allí, no va a batallar. Y toda la gente que está aquí, y todo lo que hay en el Facebook. Ahorita el Facebook está... está lleno de puros comentarios. Y es como le digo, yo lo que puse en Facebook, sí.
El problema es que había requisitos que se necesitan hacer para prevenir esa.
Claro, claro.
De la tierra de lo hondo que está, debía de ver, según usted hay nada más, donde está lo más hondo. Entonces ellos dicen que 2 pulgadas no, hasta más hondo.
Sí.
Y hay bastante.
Ahora los moyotes es algo normal que cada año tenemos, los moyotes. Pero esto es algo que se provocó, que trajeron.
Lo tristeza es que a fruit is that we feel ignored, that we were not respected.
Sí, para que se lo den. Gracias.
Gracias. We wanna. Yes, ma'am.
But definitely, I will tell you from the bottom of my heart, there's a lot of worry, period. There's panic because we're not living a normal life at this point because of those bugs. They were brought in. We were not told they were going to bring them in and without doing whatever was supposed to be, the process that was supposed to take place. Now, I worry because even the pesticides that we have to use, I have bifollicular non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. I'm in remission right now, praise the Lord. But I even worry about those things because what can happen even after?
Yes, ma'am.
So I ask you to respect us, follow through. I thank those people that came and took the opportunity to share with us their information, and the experts that are here, please let us know what you have to say. And I wish that Texas Agricultural Department would be able to explain more for us.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
there are some questions we had regarding that,
Yeah.
even though we have this information. But I will tell you, we are not ignorant.
No, ma'am.
We might live in the Mission Valley, but we are not ignorant.
Yes, ma'am.
We believe in ordinances, legislation, and justice.
Thank you.
So where there is no justice, there will be.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
we will fight tooth and nail to make sure that our voices are heard and that we will be respected as the city of Socorro and citizens that live in it.
Thank you.
Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to, and again, we welcome all of you all, and that's why we're here. We're listening to you all. You guys are not going to be ignored by us. It's very difficult for us to engage with people on social media, especially pages that are not pages that we feel comfortable with. But I want to bring up Ileana Holguin, our commissioner, and also to address the gentleman in the back. I know that he's also a concerned resident and citizen. I can only speak for what I've done and for myself. I have visited homes. I've walked several homes. I've entered the homes. I've sat with the people, and I've seen firsthand what they're going through. Again, I'm going through the same thing. It's parent night right now at my kid's school. I'm not there. I'm here because this job comes first. I have to owe it to the people to be here tonight. But again, I thank you all for your concerns, and we're here to listen to you all. And we're going to continue looking for a solution. But I can tell you right now, from one day to the next, if the city of Socorro was to sue whoever it was and they gave us money, would that get rid of the bugs? No. If we were to fumigate your all's homes or that big area there, would that get rid of the bugs? No, because they're in our homes already. So what we've been trying to do is find solutions that are going to calm the situation right now as soon as possible, but government works very, very slow. El gobierno trabaja muy, muy despacito. Las cosas no se hacen de un día para otro. But again, we're here to hear you out, and this meeting is going to go forever and ever if I don't let the other people that need to speak up here. So I want to give the floor to Commissioner Holguin at this point.
Buenas tardes. En español, y si necesitamos, entonces traducimos a inglés. ¿Sí está bien? Ok. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ileana Holguin, yo soy la comisionada para esta área de la Valle de las Misiones y nada más les quiero dar poquita información de acción que tomó la Corte de Comisionados precisamente en la junta de hoy. Hace como unas 2 semanas tuve reunión aquí en la ciudad de Socorro con la City Manager Adriana Rodarte para realmente tratar de entender la necesidad de la comunidad de Socorro para combatir este problema grandísima para nuestros residentes. Y lo que me contaron es que realmente necesitan ayuda con comprar el veneno en cantidades bastantes para que todos los residentes tengan acceso. Como mencionó el señor, Si él pone el veneno en la casa de él, pero los vecinos no lo hacen, eso no va a resolver el problema. Entonces, para mí era importante encontrar manera para asegurar que todos los residentes de Socorro tengan acceso al veneno apropiado, porque tenemos una lista de veneno, porque también yo sé que la señora tiene, está preocupada por su salud, el tipo de veneno que se puede usar. Obtuvimos una lista de venenos que son seguros, que se pueden usar en la casa y también fuera de la casa. Y hoy en la Corte de Comisionados, yo pedí y la Corte lo aprobó, $25,000 de fondos que podemos usar para comprar veneno, para que se usen en todas las casas, también se puede usar en negocios, y ese veneno se va a comprar y se va a empezar a distribuir este fin de semana, empezando el viernes, continuando el sábado, hasta que hemos asegurado que toda la gente que lo necesita lo tiene. También vamos a comprar veneno para lugares más grandes, no necesariamente en las casas, pero sabemos que hay otros lugares donde existen estas cáscaras, y para tratar de sacarlo de la ciudad. También el comisionado Sid Miller del Departamento de Agricultura ha hecho fondos disponibles para ayudar a ciudades, a condados, tratar de sacar estas cáscaras y llevarlas a otro lado fuera del condado, donde no van a poner riesgo. El condado estamos trabajando también en eso, coordinar ese esfuerzo con la oficina del comisionado para sacar las cáscaras de aquí, de nuestra área. Eso es lo que les quería compartir de las acciones que tomamos hoy en la Corte de Comisionados. Le quiero dar las gracias al representante Cruz porque él vino a la Corte hoy para realmente contar las historias de todos ustedes. Porque hay mucha gente en El Paso que no sabe realmente qué tan horrible la situación es aquí en Socorro. Sí le quiero dar las gracias al representante Cruz porque él fue y nos contó las historias de ustedes y por eso es que esos fondos se aprobaron. Javier trabaja con mi oficina, está repartiendo tarjetas con nuestro número. Vamos a trabajar junto con la ciudad de Socorro. Yo sé que ellos están manteniendo una lista de todas las casas, los residentes que han llamado. Nos vamos a comunicar con todos ellos para avisarles ya cuando tenemos los detalles de cómo se va a distribuir este veneno. Pero por mientras, si quieren tomar una carta de nosotros, nos pueden llamar para pedir esa información. En eso estamos tratando de organizar ahorita la distribución del veneno, pero por seguro lo vamos a anunciar para que todos sepan. Queremos empezar el viernes, continuar el sábado y realmente hasta que estamos seguros que todos los residentes de Socorro tienen acceso al veneno que necesitan para proteger a sus casas. Esa es la razón por cual yo vine hoy, para poder compartir esas noticias. Si necesitan las tarjetas, ¿ya las repasaste todas? Si alguien todavía necesita una tarjeta con nuestro número, por favor, pero va a ser, todos conocen el annex aquí en Socorro Road, el annex del condado. Está antes de que uno llegue a 375, es el County Annex, el Tax Collector está allí. Allí es donde vamos a estar repartiendo, pero vamos a compartir esa información ya con la ciudad de Socorro, ya cuando lo tenemos, y también les vamos a llamar a todos ustedes que están en la lista que está colectando la ciudad. Sí, estamos pensando de 2 a 6 el viernes y luego en la mañana el sábado de 9 a 12, por ejemplo, pero lo vamos a hacer hasta que todos los residentes tengan acceso a ese veneno.
Disculpe que la moleste, pero usted como representante del distrito en esta parte que le corresponde Socorro, hay un bond que va a entrar a la ciudad del Paso que a nosotros no nos van a dar nada. Usted como nuestro representante de aquí, ¿qué va a hacer por nosotros para que entonces ese dinero que va a entrar al condado del Paso, a la ciudad del Paso, eso pueda ser parte de la solución a nuestro problema?
Sí. Déjeme le explico los bonds. Y hoy, para los que no sepan, hoy fue el primer día para poder votar en estas elecciones. Y hay muchísimas razones que estas elecciones son tan importantes. Uno de ellos, porque estamos escogiendo un nuevo presidente al nivel nacional, pero porque estamos eligiendo a muchísimas gentes que nos van a representar a nosotros. Pero aparte de eso, también estamos votando por bonds. Y es súper importante que ustedes, como los residentes de este condado, deciden si las van a aprobar o no. La decisión está en las manos de ustedes. Se necesitan informar qué van a cubrir esos bonds y si es una inversión que ustedes quieren hacer, porque ustedes lo van a pagar. Si esos bonds pasan, eso directamente les afecta los impuestos de ustedes. Es súper importante que todos ustedes salgan a votar y voten en contra o en favor, como ustedes quieran, pero también díganles a sus vecinos, sus amigos, sus familiares, porque si pasan estos bonds, sí va a aumentar los impuestos. Desafortunadamente, los proyectos del bond ya están. Pueden ir a la página de internet del condado, de UMC, allí pueden ver los proyectos, pero si pasan los bonds, ese dinero es para esos proyectos, no se puede cambiar. Pero es tan importante, por favor, que salgan y voten. No nada más ustedes que están en este cuarto, pero por favor, díganles a sus familiares, sus vecinos, sus amigos, porque esto es algo que nos va a afectar a todos. Es uno recomendado por Texas A&M AgriLife, es una lista que ellos nos dieron y ellos nos han dicho que sí es muy efectivo. Pero por eso es tan importante asegurar que todos lo hagamos, ¿verdad? Por eso quisimos repartir estos fondos. Sí, y por eso vamos a también empezar a mover las cáscaras. No, sí, y eso es algo que el comisionado de Agriculture, él es el que anunció ese iniciativo y estamos ya trabajando con él para que se haga. No, desafortunadamente no. Es la misma problema que explicó el representante Cruz. No podemos entrar a propiedades privadas, pero si ellos nos piden ayuda a nosotros, lo podemos hacer. En eso estamos trabajando. Sí, pues no puedo hablar de la ciudad, el condado no podemos, de la ciudad no puedo hablar de eso, pero en el condado no podemos. Sí, sí, sí. Sí, sí, y yo tenía entendido que lo habían movido o lo van a mover, pero no sé los detalles. Otra vez, si quieren una tarjeta, por favor avisen.
I'm sorry. Yeah. We're,
Was anybody from El Paso, politicians invited to this meeting?
I didn't set up the meeting.
So we've been having, is this on? Can you hear me? Is this on? Hello, hello? No? Yes? Okay, so the meetings that we've had, yes, I joined everybody together. So there was Mr. Henry Rivera, which is our District 7 representative. So he was there at the meetings. And unfortunately, I don't know why he's not here today. We sent out some invites. He will probably be at our meeting tomorrow. We have another meeting, yes, sir. And this is to discuss the action plan that's going to happen. Like Commissioner mentioned, they just got funds for insecticide, for pesticide. So we have to develop a plan because, like Mr. Cruz mentioned, what's the point in fumigating or putting insecticide in one home when you have a lot of them and your neighbor's not putting it? Well, what's the point in fumigating or putting insecticide in Socorro when you have Tornillo, Fabens, San Elizario, and it's moving to El Paso? We're going to get infected again. So we need that strong plan to get working on it, to have everybody together in these meetings, to collaborate so that it doesn't affect us anymore, so we can get rid of all of it. Because it did happen in another place, and I think Dr. Puckett will talk about it. It happened in Levelland, Texas, and they eradicated the problem.
They're fumigating and everything goes inside. This picture here, I hope you can see it. It is, everything goes inside. As soon as they fumigate, we get ready to start cleaning, to start taking them off. Everything goes inside. Why? Because they run as they fumigate, they take off and they go inside properties. They go inside houses, they go inside houses, they go inside everywhere.
Yes, you're right. They fly. They fly. And the doctor will answer all your questions if you allow him to, start his presentation. And then afterwards, we can answer some more questions. How about that?
Yes, as mentioned, all comments and questions that you all have will be held after the meeting.
Purpose of fumigating, if we still have the nest on Socorro.
We will go ahead and answer the questions that you all have. We promise that your voices will be heard, but we do have a very insightful presentation by Dr. Puckett and Dr. Gonzalez. So we would like to go ahead and open the floor for Dr. Puckett and Dr. Gonzalez to give the presentation that they have created for you all tonight, okay? All your questions will be answered after the meeting, okay? Or after the presentation. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Before Dr. Puckett takes the podium here, and I go stand in the back there. If what City of Socorro wants is for us to look into a lawsuit, I'll be more than happy to place an agenda item for our legal team to look into that for you all.
Yeah, I mean, that's gotta be solved. I mean, that's it. Whenever you're ready.
Another information that they mentioned is that they can bite. Probably at those numbers, they can possibly bite. I clarify that they don't transmit any diseases, but
That we know of.
that we know of. And another thing is that maybe at those numbers, there always would be someone very sensitive in the skin. And
Yeah, there's always gonna be. Here, just come take this one.
La ciudad de Socorro, gracias por venir todos, gracias por sus quejas. Lo bueno que ya estamos aquí. Primeramente Dios, ya se está arreglando el negocio. Ahorita lo que necesitamos son soluciones. Si estamos aquí hablando de que nos pasó, a mí me picaron o me mordieron, ¿verdad? Yo también soy víctima. Tengo una hermana que
está muy enferma, tiene 70 años. Duró una semana picoteada y tenía todo su trailer infestado. Tuvo que ir allá. Pero también, ¿verdad? Yo aquí tengo desde el 73 viviendo. Quiero decir que yo también tuve la chance de correr por mayor, consolador. ¿Verdad? Y también la solución de nosotros, ya estamos aquí. Vamos a darles una chance a estos señores, el doctor José, y vamos a unirnos para resolver el problema. Por favor, si tienen paciencia, como le digo, yo también soy víctima de los animales. Ahorita lo que me apura mucho, no son los bonos, no son los votos. Lo importante es que nosotros no creemos en la fumigación, no creemos en las medicinas. ¿Sabe por qué no creemos en las medicinas? Porque nos va a hacer daño a todos. Habemos muchas personas que estamos malos de los pulmones. Se necesita poquito para enfermarnos. Tenemos que conocer primero la medicina y darles a ellos chance para que hagan un plan, porque este es muy temprano. Eso se tenía que hacer hace menos de 6 meses, 6 meses se tenía que hacer. Yo miraba a los pájaros llegar, los pájaros los miraba, pero no extinguía por qué estaba pasando, ¿verdad? Pues nadie sabe. Pero volvemos a lo mismo, tenemos que darle chance a estos señores para que resuelvan el problema y estamos aquí para ayudarlos porque todos estamos sufriendo. Y primeramente Dios, si hay una oportunidad o hay un consejo o hay algo para darles a ellos una chance para que resuelvan el problema, en lugar, ¿verdad?, que todos estamos enojados, ¿verdad?, con el perdón suyo, ¿verdad?, y ustedes sigan hablando como ustedes piensan que se pueden sentir. Se les va a dar el derecho que hablen con los señores, pero ellos están aquí por esa razón. Primeramente Dios.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here. I'm sorry we have to meet under such negative circumstances. So my name is Robert Puckett. I'm an urban entomologist from Texas A&M University. And my colleague, Dr. Santiago Gonzalez, is here to translate. I apologize, I don't speak Spanish. So a large portion of the conversation that has gone on tonight has been blind to me. I didn't know what you guys were saying. So forgive me if I miss a point related to what you were saying. But the passion does translate, right? The frustration does translate, and I get it. And I've actually been in this very situation before.
Una pregunta. Saludos, mi nombre es José Santiago González. Yo soy entomólogo también. Muy probablemente algunos de los compañeros pudieron haber traducido esto por mí, pero como yo también tengo estudios técnicos en entomología, yo soy más bien entomólogo de campo, de cultivos agrícolas. Pero nuestra división, la división donde yo trabajo con Dr. Puckett, pues creyó pertinente que yo también participara de la reunión. Una pregunta que les quiero hacer antes de seguir. ¿Todos lo entienden a él o no todos? Ok. So, esencialmente, Dr. Puckett comentó que muchas de las discusiones que los compañeros de la comunidad comentaron aquí, pues a él se le fue porque no lo entiende, pero que sí sabe y ve la frustración que hay. Y quiso decir que esta misma situación, de esta misma índole, ocurrió en los South Plains, en Lebanon, no hace mucho tiempo, y la comunidad estaba también con este mismo sentir. Y bueno, nada, la división de entomología trabajó de la mano con las autoridades para poder ayudar a la comunidad a resolver el problema.
Yeah, so if you mentioned the level land situation.
Yes, I did.
It was almost identical to your situation.
Una situación idéntica a la que a la que está pasando aquí.
The area that was affected was a bit smaller, and there was only one infestation of agricultural products.
La infestación que ocurrió allá en Leveland, en los South Plains, fue menor y solamente había una fuente de infestación.
Right. But with science, we were able to bring that under control in a fairly short period of time. That's the good news. The bad news is the residents of Levelland that had to deal with this had to suffer during that time period. Right. But it did come to a close.
Él dice que con ciencia de verdad y con manejo apropiado de la plaga se pudo controlar la situación, pero obviamente tarda un tiempo.
Yeah. So at our laboratory in College Station, my colleague Ed Vargo and I work on a number of different urban insects. That's all we work on. Not agricultural insects, urban insects. And so the groups of insects that we work on, sorry, I'm having trouble with this. Yeah, so we work on ants, right? So lots of different species of ants, including our important invasive ants.
Sí, básicamente él está haciendo la presentación de su laboratorio en el área de College Station en Texas y él trabaja con plagas de tipo urbana, como es la que está infectando aquí. Ha trabajado con hormigas.
Yeah, so also cockroaches and termites, bed bugs, and then, of course, the things that surprise us, right? The mystery bugs that show up. I'm having trouble with this guy.
Básicamente ha trabajado con cucarachas, comejenes o termitas y otras plagas de índole urbana.
Yeah, and so those mystery insects, of course, are these things that show up that we're not anticipating. So in my 20 years of being a professional entomologist, I've only seen red flower beetles do this twice, this year and last year. And this was new to my colleagues, too, when this was happening in Levelland.
Básicamente le está diciendo que esta situación le ha ocurrido o él la ha experimentado solamente 2 veces. El año pasado en Leveland, en los planos del sur, y esta vez aquí en Socorro. En los 20 años de él estar como entomólogo solamente le ha pasado 2 veces.
So as a community, there is a really, really valuable resource, this book, the Malice Handbook of Pest Control. It addresses these beetles. I would encourage you guys to, as a community, buy a copy of this. You can find an older edition, and it addresses these beetles and what you can expect. But the problem is, when we think about red flower beetles, we think about a pantry pest, right? An insect that is a nuisance in your home and easy to deal with. Your situation is very different, right? And so I've heard a lot of conversation about fumigation and treating houses. How many of you guys are treating your houses?
¿Cuántos de ustedes han tratado la casa?
How frequently?
¿Cuán frecuente? From every day to every
Okay.
day. That's more than that.
Listen, I really want, please listen to me. That is not going to help. And I'll explain why. And at the, at the risk of upsetting my colleagues in the pesticide manufacturing industry and the professionals that do pest control for a living, I want you to stop hiring those guys right now and stop treating your houses with contact insecticides. Why do you think I'm asking this?
¿Ustedes entendieron eso? Básicamente él está diciendo que esto de tratar diariamente, ustedes tienen que acabarlo, tienen que parar. No contraten personal, profesional de fumigación porque eso no va a parar el problema. También en un comentario anterior que hizo, me enseñó un libro azul que estaba en la pantalla. Él comenta y le recomienda que ustedes como comunidad compren ese libro también porque es una gran referencia para el manejo de este insecto. Una cosa también que comentó es que el insecto, como normalmente lo conocemos, es una plaga sencilla y fácil de tratar en las alacenas, ¿verdad? Sin embargo, esto es una cosa bárbara del otro mundo. Esto es una cosa distinta. Esto es algo muy, muy fuerte.
Tenemos en todos lados.
Exacto. Correcto.
No.
Right. Exacto, porque es diferente. Esto es una situación diferente.
Yeah.
Where does this beetle come from?
Yeah, so this is a beetle that is just a natural part of natural environments. It's a native insect species. In fact, it's... Oh, yeah. They're all over in the United States. In fact, you can go out... We could challenge our graduate students to go collect some. And if they had enough time, they would find some. But they would probably go to a grocery store and look for them there. Right.
Exacto.
That's where they're commonly found.
La plaga es común en Estados Unidos, se encuentra por doquiera y muchas veces los estudiantes de entomología lo pueden conseguir fácilmente. ¿Dónde? En las tiendas, en el supermercado, en el mercado, en las tiendas de comestibles. Se pueden encontrar fácilmente en harinas. Okay, Robert.
All right, so here's what I want to follow up on that comment that I made about treating for these guys. Right? If you're treating the exterior of your house with insecticide, that's fine. But we don't want to repeat that every couple of weeks or every week because you're exposing not only the insects to the insecticide, but also you, right? And your children and your companion animals, and also non-target organisms that we don't necessarily want to kill, the good guys, right? So in our laboratory, we do lots of trials for different pesticides that companies want to bring to the market. And with contact insecticides, like we've got 2 cockroach trials going right now, both of which cockroaches were exposed to treated surfaces. We don't begin to see mortality in those cohorts of insects for 72 hours usually. So what I'm saying is if beetles fly onto your house and they crawl across the insecticide and continue into your house, they're going to live for a few days. It's going to feel as though you've made no impact on these guys. But if you find them dead, you can assume that you did. But the next night, the next cohort hits your house, right? So you can repeat your treatments all you want, but you're putting yourself at peril in doing that. Please curtail that. We got to bring the source population under control first, right? And so we'll talk about how this has happened before, how this is.
¿Todo el mundo entendió esto? Ok, bueno, básicamente el doctor Pocket, lo voy a tratar de resumir. I will summarize.
What's that?
I will summarize what you said.
Okay.
But basically, you know, what he is, lo que estamos mencionando. Perdónenme. Lo que están él mencionando es que esta práctica de aplicar frecuentemente no es una práctica recomendada. Que él tiene trials o pruebas, bioensayos en su laboratorio para controlar plagas. Y normalmente una cucaracha le puede tomar a él, después que le aplique el producto, alrededor de 72 horas en morir. El veneno no siempre, el plaguicida no siempre actúa rápido. Entonces, en lo que la plaga tiene la dosis efectiva para poder matarlo, en eso van a entrar muchos más escarabajos a su hogar y va a darle la percepción a usted de que el veneno o que del plaguicida, debo decir, no es efectivo. Recuerden que esto es una situación muy particular. Esto es una situación fuera de lo normal.
Yeah. Okay, so the normal route of entry into a home tends to be in food, right? So this is why they're called the flower beetles. So the females lay their eggs on a food source so that when they hatch, their larvae are on their food. They don't have to search for it. They have food immediately available to them and they start developing. Who has seen this before this infestation? Who's had pantry insects before? Surely some of you.
¿Quiénes han tenido plagas de alacena anteriormente? Antes de este problema, ¿han visto el insecto?
Never?
Algunos dicen que sí.
Okay. Not at this level.
No aquí, pero en otro lado sí.
Yeah.
Exacto.
I mean, it's very common. I get dozens of phone calls every year about this.
Es muy común alrededor de los Estados Unidos, ya lo comentó.
And always we kind of talk through, the person that calls and we say, well, let's go in your pantry and start looking around. And we look in flour, right? We look in processed flowers.
Lo que está comentando es que esa es la típica ruta de entrada del insecto a la casa, a través de alimentos que están contaminados.
These are the common items. These are the items that you bring home from the grocery store that have infestations of these beetles.
Estos son los alimentos comunes donde esta plaga pudiera alojarse. Cereales,
dried beans, right? Again,
habichuelas o frijoles,
dried peas. These are the items that they associate with. Peppers, fruits, dried peppers and fruits. Again.
Fruta seca.
Shelled nuts, right? Okay. Spices. This is a big one. Also chocolates, as well as, once more. Okay, so this is why we call them pantry pests, right? The normal route of entry is through goods that you buy at the grocery store and you bring into your house. That's easy to solve. But keep in mind, they get into things like rodent baits. The carrier matrix for those baits is not insecticidal, and the active ingredient's not insecticidal, so they'll associate with those goods too. Also, in the next slide. If you've had rodents in a house, a lot of times rodents will hide their seeds in wall voids and this sort of thing. Well, if the beetles find those, they can drive an infestation. That's not what's going on here, right? This is the point.
En cereales, en harinas, farinas, en lentejas, en frijoles, todo esto, pero además de esto, también pueden ellos infectar comida para ratones. Por ejemplo, si tienen problemas de ratones en la casa, en los residuos que normalmente dejan ellos cuando roen las paredes y escondrijos, ¿no? Y también en este tipo de productos, Bioactive Septic System Treatment Products.
Yeah, I've seen these in
Este otro tipo de productos, pueden encontrarlos ahí también.
I said this twice, and I
No.
was going to show you this and say, this is not what a pantry pest infestation looks like. This density of insects. This
Sí,
is different. You have found yourself in a unique situation where the beetles are coming from outside into your house.
Esta es una
You're
situación
not bringing
única.
them in infested goods, right? We know that they're associated with these, the byproduct of this agroecosystem, the pecan shells. Quick point to make. I think it got addressed earlier. The pecan production crops, right? The production facilities of pecans, this is not where these beetles are coming from. It's in the processing, right? It's the shells. It appears to be very clear that they're infesting at the facility, and then those materials are being used by property owners, by municipalities, and from what I understand, that's been the case for years. But for whatever reason, this was the year that those shells at the facility became infested, or they became infested on site at different locations. I don't know the answer to that question.
Sí, lo que está mencionando es que este tipo de infestación no es un tipo el tipo de infestación normal y la forma normal de este insecto de llegar a sus hogares. Esto es una situación muy particular que está llegando desde las cáscaras de nuez, pero que no llegan desde los campos de nuez, donde se produce la nuez pacana o pecan. Vienen de las plantas de descascare, donde se acumulan estos montones o estos apilamientos de cáscaras. Es donde el insecto está llegando y no se sabe con clara certeza por qué se está provocando esto, pero obviamente tiene que ver en parte por el alimento que están generando y el ambiente propicio para que este insecto se genere.
Question, has
Yes.
anybody notified the nurseries that sell and distribute pecan shells?
As far as I know, they are fully aware of this situation. Sir?
Good evening. You know,
Real quickly though, that's a question for your local administrators and people on the ground. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
any politician, can anybody answer that?
They're asking if the facility's been made aware of this situation. They're asking if the pecan shelling facility has been made aware of this problem.
Any nurseries that distribute them, you know, to somebody?
The nurse?
Yeah, nurseries do sell pecan shells, don't they?
I wouldn't know if they're selling shells. This is an industry that I don't know all that much about. I would be surprised if the nurseries are. Like, you mean the orchards?
No, the nurseries, because
When you say nursery, do you refer to the source of infestation?
that's what I'm asking.
I guess they are. He's talking about the shelling facilities. Okay.
Yes, so the Texas Department of Agriculture has already notified the pecan companies that, and I think there's 3 major ones in the area. They have been notified, and right now, the hauling has stopped. They were hauling about 70 trips a week. They have stopped because that's what they've told them, right? So that has automatically stopped for right now until they get it under control. Right now, I do know that Mary Gonzalez, Commissioner Olguin, and other entities are working to secure areas and property out far, far away from here in order to haul these shells away from the residents, right? And these properties belong to the state of Texas.
I do know that, I mean, I've watched this go all the way up to the Capitol in Austin. You know, I learned about it 3 weeks ago, right? And by that time, Sid Miller was already pushing out information. And our department head learned about it. They said, hey, look, you need to make plans to get out to El Paso and Socorro and help with this issue. So,
Quisiera traducir esta información. El caballero aquí. Sorry.
what I would say is, I know folks feel as though their voices aren't being heard. I heard this earlier. They are, right? That's why we're here. We're being sent from areas of the state. Sid Miller's office is pushing out information, and TDA people have been here, and folks from Extension have been, from more local than me in College Station, have been to those facilities and sampled already. So, yeah. Sir?
Good evening. You know, this is, we pretty much heard everybody's outcries in reference to this matter. You know, there's going to be a lot of people here that say they want to hire attorneys, and a lot of attorneys are going to come back. I mean, I'm not an attorney, by the way, but I'm saying a lot of them come back. And there's no real effort in who to blame for this, okay? And I work with your colleague to my left here.
Orlando?
We're just commenting here that this is something that occurs Mother Nature-wise or naturally, and next year it'll be a different problem, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But my question to you all, and the city councilman, and of course, our county government here, this should have been taken to the county government. The county judge should have been made aware of this, and at this point notified the Capitol, so that our lovely governor would have notified the federal government, which is the agriculture department, which they're not here tonight. And I think these people are looking for answers on how to resolve this matter with the funds from the city of Socorro. And that's not where it should be. It should be with the federal government that comes out here and clean this up. We've got a pandemic.
Yeah.
And it affects the county, countywide. This problem is not just in Socorro. This problem is now, I can assure you, led into the Clean area, because you know, there is no limit on where these beetles go. So,
You mean to turn where the material goes that they're infesting?
yeah, right behind my house, I live right there in Clinton. You know, I have probably 100 tons of those pecan shells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have the same problem in my house.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but I'm not here to cry about that. What I'm here to make a statement to you all is, without Texas A&M, you guys are an educational program for the communities in the state of Texas. Number one, you're just an education. And of course, you assist in whatever matters come up. But the main problem is that we have FEMA that can provide funds. We have the governor. They say, hey, we have a state of emergency in the county of El Paso, which we have not done. And that's what's annoying to me, is that the county commissioner or representing Ms. Olguin here, is that she hasn't notified, and I haven't heard you say that, but notify the governor of this problem, that we need to bring in the agriculture department. So a lot of questions to you is why I'm here.
The governor is aware. They are aware. Yes.
Well, I really think the representative of them should have been here. Number one, what are the funds? How is the Socorro, Socorro going to be able to fund this? I mean, some of these people barely pay their rent. So how do you just mentioned that we're going to buy a book. That book is probably $40.
No, it's more than that. Yeah.
You know, educate these people, other than what you're doing. We're grateful, by the way. I'm not down on what you're doing. We're very grateful about your education.
Sure.
And telling us, hey, we can find more information in this book. But it costs money to do that. And a lot of these people just don't have the funds. And so I'm asking Olguin to contact the county judge. We need to get a move on a federal deal rather than on countywide, and we'll get the funds. That's where it needs to start.
Yeah. So there are funds that are being made available through the state of Texas. No, they're available now. So we're already working with Sid Miller, who is the Commissioner of Agriculture. And no, I understand. We're trying to move as quickly as we can. Those funds, the commissioner called my office last Thursday to tell us these funds were going to be available. So we're in the process of applying for them so we can start moving these shells out. So that's already happening. That's already happening. And the governor's office is aware of it. That's why these gentlemen are here, because they are aware of it at the state level.
This is the first, I've been here for an hour now,
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I said that in Spanish, and I said I was going to say it in English, and I didn't, so I apologize for that. But I did say that in my Spanish presentation, that the county is also, in addition to try to make funds available, and if there are better ways to make those funds useful to treat this, let
Oh,
us know.
I see, yeah.
Other than helping folks buy pesticide. But yes, so the governor, the Department of Agriculture, the commissioner is making funds available to help move these shells out of the area. So we're working in that. Well, that's what I said in my Spanish comments, and I apologize because I did say I was going to translate to English and I didn't. So I apologize for that.
So when we procure the funds, now what's our next step in helping these people clean up their houses?
Yes, so that was why the other part of the announcement that I made about helping ensure everyone had access to pesticide. But I do want to finish listening to the presentation so that they can tell us the best way to utilize those funds.
Thank you for commenting on that. I'm sure it resolved a lot of questions in a lot of these people's minds. Thank you.
You mentioned Lebanon, Texas, that was an armor problem with a human plant.
Right.
Processing plant in Lubbock. They were being fined $2,000 a day to
Correct.
clean up their mess.
Correct.
Now, we have a pecan farm, the processing plant, the maintenance. Why aren't those plants, the processing plants, the guys who are crushing the pecans, why aren't they being fined, or why aren't they controlling it? I know you said they stopped it now, but it's still late. And then, they talk about the doves, there's thousands of doves feeding. There's thousands of doves feeding on these shells. They're not eating the bugs, they're eating the pieces of pecan that are left in every single shell.
Yeah.
So we start poisoning all these pecans, so you're gonna poison thousands of doves, and then Texas Parks and Wildlife come out here and fine us for killing migratory game birds. Another thing, I just found out from private sources that the El Paso Water Utility signed a contract with a local contractor here in town to go ahead and spray the pile of pecan shells as a core road. They're gonna do something with the saffron leaves.
Pyrethrum. Pyrethrum.
Exactly, so I mentioned to one of the guys, you know, we gotta make sure that that stuff doesn't kill the doves. You're gonna kill a lot of migratory game birds, you're gonna have a felony on you for the Texas Parks and Wildlife. It's not as easy as just killing doves and killing birds and killing beetles. So there's a lot of stuff involved.
No, it won't be easy. No. And you do want to approach this in the most logical approach possible. And that does require some planning. And I heard some grumbles when Mayor mentioned earlier there was going to be a planning meeting tomorrow. People do need to put their heads together and figure out how to go at this in the most systematic and scientifically valid means possible. Here's what I would tell you if you called me and said I've got pantry pests I've got red flower beetles in my pantry. It's almost exactly what I would tell you in this situation. But I would say, look, we've got to remove the source. The source has to go. Get that bag of flour out of there. Figure out where the beetles are. If they're in your box of Wheaties or whatever, and we're going to get them out of the pantry. And you're going to freeze it and decide if you want to eat it later or if you want to just throw it away. But you got to remove that. That's got to leave because it's infested. It's the same story here. And it doesn't just go for municipality areas. I've seen photographs of yards that are using this as ground covering. I've been contacted by people in your community saying, please come to this address and look at my neighbor's house. And this is one of those situations we get into where I have to say, okay, let's calm down. Nobody anticipated this. Your neighbors, you're in the same community. Let's work together. Let's develop a plan. Let's get these out of there. But don't let the friction overwhelm you. You know, this is what I hope you won't. You know, I know it's very frustrating, but it will come to a conclusion. It will, and you know, the municipalities will start to pull different levers, but that's not my role here. That's not my job to talk about that. Well, thank you.
You know, I'm going to go back to the same subject because it's obviously it's not being listened to. Is that you know, a lot of these people put these pecan shells in front of their yard. They don't have the money to water their lawn.
Well,
They don't have a way to make their house look prettier.
Yeah.
So again, you know, the county of El Paso really needs to start. One, we have the county, and we have dump trucks, and we have stuff like that. We got a pandemic, folks, and it's not going to cure itself. So now what you keep pushing on the table here, Robert, is that the people take care of themselves. This is not an issue where the people can take care of themselves.
I think, let me back up. I said we've got to get rid of those pecan shells. And I said the
That's what I'm
municipalities
referring to.
will start pulling levers to get that done.
I
can't
understand
speak
that,
to
Robert.
that.
But what I'm trying to tell you is that we need to provide the resources so that these people can clean their yards. You know, I see them shaking their head over here. You know, I mean, these people have been doing this for 3 months. And I'm telling you right now, we got Fave and Stornillo. That's the county of El Paso.
Yeah.
We're not far from there, okay? The Clint. So if we don't get the pecans, like I told you, I probably have 70 tons sitting behind my house. Ask me, has anybody been out there? Nobody's been out there. And so, you know, and that's the rendering plant out there, or the fattening, the Clint area.
Yeah.
7X, Miller's Livestock, all that. There's 70 tons sitting out there. And again, we go back to what Robert's saying. It's the birds eating the pecans, and it's infested. So
Wait,
again, we go
Well,
back. We need resources.
I didn't
to
mention
pick this
birds
stuff
and
up.
pecans.
Okay, so that's exactly the information that we need, so we know where to start sending folks to start using some of these funds that are available through the state
Okay.
to pick them up. So did you get one of our cards when we were?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so that's exactly the information that we need. Where is it sending?
So here's the other thing, Robert. So we have other pesticides that we turn over in the fields. Is this something that a lot of people who have access to tractors turn the pecans down in the ground? Will that kill the beetles?
You're saying if you turn those shells into the soil,
Right.
I wouldn't imagine so.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about disking them in this deep? No, I don't suspect that would solve the issue. It's going to require pesticide application, in my opinion, on the shells and then removal of the shells. Because the pesticides that you'll be able to use, like the pyrethrum insecticides, those break down fairly quickly. So if the pecan shells stay in place and the pesticide breaks down, guess what? You're going to be right back in the same situation. You see what I mean? Next generation, when those piles are found, their densities will begin to grow, and you'll be right back in the same situation.
I think the problem hasn't rained in a long time too, and the drought caused a lot of these shells to break up and move themselves.
Yeah.
And make a flower. So when those shells are crushing, they're making a flower and just giving a place where the bugs will live.
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
Everybody knows here it hasn't rained in months,
Yeah.
really, nothing significant. So, you know, good rain will just drown a lot of these out, wash them all away, and it'll be okay.
I don't know. I don't think that will solve your problem. No, it won't hurt it. Well, I don't think it will hurt it, but this is sort of new experiences for all of us in the room. Yeah. This is not advancing slides very well, but basically what I was going to say in the remainder of this presentation is during the intervening time, as this is being brought under control, you're going to have to protect your house from these coming in, right? And if you got brick home with weep, this thing's got a mind of its own. I didn't know it was on that slide. You're going to have to seal up your houses as best you can. That's door sweeps, weep holes, using weep hole covers, caulking windows. I know. But what can I tell you? This is all I can tell you that can be done until the source gets removed. Unfortunately, I told you I've got some good news and some bad news, right? This is the bad news. Yeah, once there's a major source of food resources in the exterior outdoor environment, yeah, they're gonna exist at levels that they existed before you guys had this problem. Do you see what I mean? Like we have them in College Station. We can go find these beetles, right? You had them here before this. Your beetles that were here before this are actually the seed population for this outbreak. You see what I mean? So if you remove that resource from them, you're going to deny their ability to exist at these densities. And that will be the end of that problem. You don't... I know. There's so many because there's such a resource for them to eat and breed in. Oh, okay. So, right. So once you don't have that pressure on your house, remember earlier I said, if you treated the exterior of your house and beetles arrive and they crawl on and into your house, they're going to stay alive for a few days and then die after coming in contact with the insecticide? That's what will happen. So once you remove the major source of food resources that they're breeding in, then you're going to deal with the last generation, and then it's mop-up time. You see what I mean? Yeah, a few hundred. No, they're bouts of, so they have mating events, and then they have inseminated eggs that they can lay, and then. Yeah.
They said that they lay eggs every 3 days. And they said 200 every 3 days.
Yeah, I don't know if that's quite accurate. But obviously they lay plenty of eggs, right? Because you're dealing with their offspring, right? Yeah.
So my house is in danger.
Yeah, it is. It is. And those beetles will.
They said they do nest. They did said that we need to check under our beds and our closets because if there's no food, they build nests where there's like cotton, like closet that's closed. So I haven't gone to my closet. I don't want to go to my closet. It's scary to go in my closet. My husband said, don't even touch it.
I believe you.
It's really bad. So why aren't they in my pantry?
Why aren't they in your pantry? Well, you must do a pretty good job of sealing up your food in your pantry first, I'm imagining.
Well, since the beginning, they weren't in.
Secondary to that, if they may be in locations in your house where they have easy access from the exterior. So I don't know anything about your house, but is there something that's interesting? Is there an avenue of easy entry for the beetles to enter the house in the areas where you're finding high densities? Plumbing penetration, vents. Yeah. So you got vents, you got plumbing penetrations, I'm assuming, in your master bathroom. It's a brick home. Is it on a concrete slab or is it a pier and beam? Concrete? Okay, so you still have the plumbing penetrations, the holes in the concrete that your plumbing comes up through. I mean, there's plenty of avenues of, this is a tiny insect. It doesn't take a major hole in the wall for them to come through.
Dr. Parker?
Yes, sir?
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Have you ever had a meeting with the Public Works in El Paso? You mean the water company personnel or
No. I
officers?
just landed today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I live just about 30 feet away from the area.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, we're living in the United States.
Mm.
And it looks to me that nobody has had yet the answer for what insecticides will be used.
Mm.
And that's incredible to me. You know what? I have been suffering this situation. I live just about 100 yards away from Ms. Rosa's house.
Oh, the point of clarification, insecticides for you to use on your house or at the...
For the infested area.
Okay.
Because, I have attended a lot of meetings around the area. I'm very grateful with Ms. Holguin that she took my phone call. Después de 3 meses o más, apenas se está viendo una reacción de una autoridad que sabe lo que está diciendo, porque las otras autoridades que han venido nos dan consejos y nos dicen qué usar. Pero nosotros ya sabemos qué usar, porque los hemos usado por 3 meses. Y me da un coraje bien grande que habiendo tantos recursos que tenemos en la ciudad, en el condado, tantos recursos que tiene la ciudad del Paso, que de ahí depende la compañía del agua, y no han hecho gran cosa. Yo tengo nietos y bisnietos desde 1 año hasta 20. Ya no van a visitarme. Y los que viven ahí en el otro apartamento, pues tienen que dormir algunas veces con los suegros o con los consuegros. Y ya está bueno. Es muy sencillo el problema. Es muy sencillo, todos lo sabemos. Ahí está el problema en las cáscaras de nuez. Pero los que echaron esta cáscara de nuez no están aquí para que nos den una respuesta.
que es la ciudad del Paso, que es la compañía del agua del Paso. Y yo los hubiera traído, yo los hubiera invitado, yo les hubiera dicho, ¿sabes qué? Tienes que estar aquí. Pero no están. Entonces, mi problema y mi pregunta es esta. ¿Hasta cuándo, hijos de pa' qué les digo, van a tomar acción en eso? No, pero es que no es para la mayor del Paso, es para el mayor del, para la mayor de Socorro, es para el mayor del Paso, para el presidente del Water Board del Paso. Nosotros podemos ir, si ellos no vienen, vamos allá. Vamos a las juntas del Concilio del Paso o vamos a las juntas del Water Board y vamos juntos y les llevamos un montón de animales no muertos. Les llevamos vivos. Y sí, no, sí. Porque ¿sabe qué? Yo invité a la señora González, nuestra representante también en Austin. Le dije, quiero que vengas a mi casa. Y los invito también aquí a dormir una noche, como dijo la señora ahí.
Pero a los del Paso, a nosotros no, a los del Paso.
No, a que vengan ellos, los oficiales del Paso, y que nos visiten. Estoy hablando de oficiales del Paso y de Austin. Porque mire, permítame, Suki. Es que el coraje me pone mudo. Es que es una frustración tremenda. Ya no puedes salir ahorita que está el tiempo bonito a 80, 75 grados. Cuando llego de trabajar y me quito las botas en una banquita que tengo ahí, tengo que hacerlo rápido porque estoy haciendo así para entrar. Y entro y está el piso lleno, negro de tanto animal. Ya basta. Ya está bueno. No están jugando en la boca. Yo pienso que una comisión, si se quieren juntar aquí, vamos a una junta de la ciudad del Paso y los invitamos y los traemos.
Pero con todo respeto, nosotros tenemos una mitad de poder, pero los que están representando al pueblo, ellos tienen que ir delante de nosotros.
Los llevamos si quieren.
Entonces, la responsabilidad para poder hacer la voz escuchar, no nomás en la ciudad del Paso, hasta el Capitolio, es que nuestros dirigentes tengan la capacidad de decir, vamos, porque necesitamos los líderes que están aquí. Nosotros,
Mira, amigo, dispénseme, perdón.
es lo que queremos, una solución.
Dispénseme un momento. Sí, yo también por eso quería terminar. Vamos a ponernos en orden, mire, señor, permítame. Bueno, ¿cuándo vamos? Ya hablamos mucho y vamos nomás dándole vuelta y vuelta al asunto y no hacemos nada.
Yo no estoy diciendo que está mal, Mr. Beetle. Yo estoy diciendo que para ello es juntarnos mucho con nuestras cabezas.
Yes. Mija,
Poder decir algo, ¿sí?
con todo permiso y respeto. I'm sorry that we have not allowed you to actually finish your explanation, but let me tell you, yo sé que a todos estamos con mucha preocupación ahorita, pero tiene que haber un proceso que no nos guste. Las leyes, los procesos que existen en el gobierno se toman pasos para llevarse cosas a cabo. Se los digo porque lo he trabajado y muchos, yo no sé de ustedes si se acuerdan de mí, pero lo he visto el trabajo cuando se toma algo serio para hacerse bien hecho. Sabemos que no hay de veras mucha solución en pesticides, nomás de hasta cierto punto. Sabemos muy bien que no están aquí los que quisieran, los que estuvieran para que nos dieran respuesta a los del agua. Sí, les aconsejo que vayan en persona allí a una junta al Paso. It is very important that you attend a meeting in the El Paso Water District if necessary. If our voices are not heard there, then we can do a protest, yes, all the way to the state capitol. And if we have to go further, we should. Y si tenemos que ir más lejos, vamos. Nuestras voces sí tienen, pero hay que realizar la verdad de lo que esa clase de bug consiste. ¿Qué se puede hacer con él y qué se va a poder solucionar? La solución es lo que queremos, ¿verdad? Soluciones. ¿Quién nos puede dar la solución? Yo que le voy a pedir a nuestros commissioners, a nuestro city council, mayor, everybody that can work together con nosotros, la comunidad, please get yourself in order. Make the list down as to what we spoke about, what you said could be and could not be done, so that we, the people, will know what next step to take. As well, because yes, it's affecting all of us, including yourselves. But we must respect one another. Enojarnos no nos arregla nada, y ustedes lo saben.
Can I make one comment, please? I gotta leave. I haven't heard how to control it. You mentioned, not to spray, and.
No, on your house, yeah.
But I would like a public service announcement. If you want to spend money, 1 or 2 minute public announcement or PSA that how to treat it. And I know we're all frustrated, but we need to know what to do.
Yeah.
We're not.
We're going to make this talk available. This slide has all the actual product names to use on your house. But what I'm suggesting is we don't want to be treating every week on your house.
Seems counterintuitive. You see bugs, you're gonna spray them. Put that out because I was spraying.
I know. This is what was going on in Leveland before I got there. It won't, it's going to kill some beetles, but they're going to live long enough that it won't feel like you're killing your beetles.
Just so you know, this video will be on YouTube, so you can refer back to it. I know you have to leave so that you can hear the rest of the presentation.
There are several fact sheets in Spanish and English with information that you could.
Or before you leave, sir? Before you leave, sir? I have another idea for you guys. I've talked to my cousin. She lives in District 3. So there was a while back where I got some information from El Paso Electric. They're doing free energy assessments. What that means is they're going into homes. Oh, they can't hear. Okay, so it's a free energy assessment from El Paso Electric. I tried this with my cousin, and Dr. Puckett mentioned you have to seal your windows, all your crevices and nooks and crannies and everything where they might be coming in. So this free, Monday?
They say they can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Can I try that one? Can you hear me? Is that better? Yes. Okay. So again, it's a free energy assessment from El Paso Electric. What they do is they come into your home, they check to see where you have maybe heat loss or the cold air is coming out, and they let you know where you might need some caulking. That might be an easy fix. It's not very expensive. And you seal your home. You're sealing it, you spray with your regular indoor insecticide, and that might help. They're not coming into your home. Now you turn off your light because of course insects are attracted to these lights. But this is gonna help you because the insects, not all of them are coming into your home. Now, in the future, it is gonna help you with your energy, so that's another bonus there. So that might be something to think about. Yes? It's just an idea, sir. I don't think we have a timeline yet, do we? Oh, go ahead. 'Cause I can't.
Yeah. What about the timeline on removing the shells from the location? Do you have one?
I don't have a timeline.
Why?
Sir. I don't have a timeline,
You're the
sir.
mayor. You're the mayor, and it should be
Yes,
your office
we have a meeting
to
tomorrow
demand,
morning.
To demand, oh,
Tomorrow morning.
and you'll find out
And yes, I'll find out for you.
what time is your meeting.
It is unfortunately, it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Good here?
I'm sorry?
Here?
No, not here.
Where?
It is at administration.
Just for, it's a closed,
It
it's
is,
not
it's
open to
a
the
closed
public.
meeting. It is a closed meeting.
And when do you expect to remove these shelves? When do you think, when do you want to remove the shelves?
If it was up to me, I'd do it immediately, but unfortunately,
not?
it's not up to me. It would be up to, where, I'm sorry?
Who's the responsible person to remove these shelves?
It would be the El Paso Water.
And so call the water company to remove it
They will be
now.
part of that meeting.
I'm
We've
surprised.
already spoken to them, but they haven't given us a time frame.
Why? It's ridiculous. You know,
They've already sprayed. I don't know why. I'm sorry? Yes, they do. And we need, of course, there needs to be money to be removed.
Yes.
We
Hey.
have,
they have the money.
we have,
Do have other resources
we have Commissioner
to
Sid
remove them.
Miller that just obtained for us funds so we could get those shells, remove them as mentioned. They're going
By the
out
water
into the
company.
desert. I don't know how many miles is out. I think, yeah, it's outside the county.
I got a quick question. Are you guys planning a follow-up meeting to tell us what's going on?
Yes, we could do that.
There's a lady behind.
We can do that.
Oh,
Did everyone sign in?
there's a woman
Okay.
behind you that's basically had her hands up for like 5 minutes, and I keep
So-
pointing to her, telling her I'll get to her, so I'll get you next.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm frustrated, but I want to hear what he has to say regarding that. I want to know what I need to do inside my house in order to prevent that.
Yeah.
Correct, so let's allow him to finish his presentation. Yes. Yes. Just a little update, the El Paso Water Utility has hired an environmental service that is currently treating in order for them to be able to remove, right? So the environmental agency is the one that's looking over it so they can remove the shells. And that should happen fairly quickly.
It's getting tired. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
the-
ma'am.
In the end, my message to you guys is this is going to be solved. There are enough eyes, there's enough attention on it that the source of the population is going to get removed. In the meantime, you're going to have to try to keep these out of your house. So the first step is think physically. Don't think about insecticides yet, right? We'll get to that. These beetles are literally crawling into your house, and they're crawling under door sweeps, I'm imagining, because I've got a 6-year-old house, and our door sweeps are trash, right? They need to be replaced. If I had red flower beetles on the outside, I'd make sure to do that tomorrow, you know? You got to get the house sealed up. Caulk the areas that the mayor mentioned, you know, if you want to hire that electrical company services or
Electric.
it doesn't, you know, figure out where there's seams in your house. Caulk them where you can, use the weep holes, find mesh, window screen mesh can work, all your soffits and your vents on top of the house. If you've got a pier and beam home, things get a lot trickier, right? Because you've got penetrations underneath and a cavity, a crawl space underneath where there's undoubtedly lots of beetles, right? But to the best of your ability, you're going to have to seal those plumbing penetrations off. And remember, we're talking about a beetle that's the size of a grain of rice, right? So it's a daunting task. So the next thing you can do then is start to employ insecticides, but let's do this in the most judicious way possible, right? Your labels on your insecticides will tell you these insecticides. This presentation, I'm hoping, will be made available in PDF form, and it will contain this table. And if you can read this, there's three major headings. exterior insecticides, indoor insecticides, and then monitoring and surveillance devices. Now, right now, you don't need to buy anything to surveil for these beetles, right? You're bringing them in jars full, right? But at some point, as this begins to get under control, when the source population gets, the resources that the beetles are using get removed, there's going to be some stragglers. I think this was the point of your question earlier. And you're going to want to know if the efforts that you're taking are having an impact on the beetles in your house. And one way you can do that is by using like these pheromone traps that you can order. They will attract beetles not from the outside into your house, but inside your house, beetles that you can't see will be attracted to the pheromone traps. You have some, I bet it's full, right? Okay, yeah. So the good news is they work then, right? Okay. But this is how you're going to be able to tell, as you bring this to a conclusion, the hardest part is always stamping out the last one, right? Now they're going to die eventually just based on their life cycle. Eventually, there's not going to be an additional cohort of eggs that are laid in your house. But that is all predicated on the source population being removed. This is not a situation where you're bringing them in from the grocery store. I've tried to make this point several times. Your houses are being assailed by these beetles from the exterior. This is very unusual, right? But we know that in level land, it took monitoring at the site, and it took a little bit of muscle from the local government in the form of fines that were put on the facility until they finally caved and said, okay, we'll get these out of here. But they didn't have the additional problem of people using the almond holes in that situation. Same biology, same situation, just a different nut, right? People weren't using those as ground cover, right? These beetles were flying from the facility to their neighborhood. So you're going to have to think about the pecan shells that are around town in Socorro and the surrounding communities and in El Paso, because those are all going to just continue to exacerbate this situation, right? Nobody would have guessed that this would have been a bad idea, but it turns out it was a bad idea, right, to use this as ground covering. And like I say, I don't think anybody there was any dishonest or I don't think anybody would have imagined this would happen. Of course, after our experience in Level Land, we would have told you, yeah, that might be a problem. But it is what it is. It's done. They're here. Now I got to figure out ways for you guys to get rid of them. And that's what we're spending our time here doing. And we're going to be at the planning meeting tomorrow to talk about our experiences in Level Land. Yes, ma'am.
I've lived in Socorro for 15 years.
Uh-huh.
And this summer, I noticed some small little white gnats. These are not the beetles, right? Is this some other type of infestation?
Yeah, no, so these beetles fly and so do gnats, but if they're white, there's the only life stage that these beetles are white is when they're grubs, right, when they're larvae.
No, these are flying.
Yeah, this is something different then. Yeah. Can you collect some? Because if you can collect some, I'll be more than happy to identify them for you. Yeah, so I do this every day. I identify insects from people all over the U.S. They send them in envelopes. And oh, these are cotton whiteflies? Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's a secondary pest of cotton. Cotton has its primary pests like boll weevil and what's another important cotton pest? Bullworms, right? But sometimes the secondary pests like cotton whiteflies can become a significant problem. And it's hard to predict. It's hard to understand sometimes why, but it probably has something to do with the long drought system, the series of drought this year in this area, I suspect. It probably won't be a problem every year. Yeah. The cotton whiteflies will die. I don't think you guys get cold enough. No. I wish. That was my first, when I heard about this, the first thing I did was I went and looked online how cold you guys get in the winter. And I don't think you're going to bottom out low enough to kill them.
Besides that, in the fact sheet, there's a statement that says, the shells can even protect them.
Oh, yeah.
On the temperatures that we have here, So they serve as a
Insulation or something.
Insulation that can protect them to survive the winter.
Yeah.
The winter could diminish their activity, but you will see it later in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
May kill some, but not the whole problem will be taken care of.
In the Levelland situation, we were using these long probes to sample for them, and the probes were perforated from one end to the other. And it was very clear the beetles, when it would become hot during the day, they would go towards the center of the mounds of hulls, and when it would get cool in the evening, they'd move back out and wait for the morning sun to warm them up, you know. So they're very difficult if you've got a thick layer of pecan shells that are, as Jose said, insulating them.
What happens, the activity goes in at night.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep. There. Another point to mention, and I know this sounds silly, but so these beetles, like a lot of insects, are attracted to light, right? Well, a very simple thing to do is turn all your lights off, your exterior lights. Now, that's not going to help if you're underneath, at the corner of your street and you've got a street light right in front of your house. And but if you're in an isolated situation and you can kill your exterior lights, this can help a great deal. And that's real. I mean, we know this to help. Sir. Pardon?
¿Qué son moyotes? Perdóname, yo soy de Puerto Rico, no sé. Los zancudos.
Estás comiéndote un plato bien rico y de repente pasa.
Okay. Yeah, she's complaining because sometimes they can land in your food, and it's it's a nuisance.
I cannot imagine dealing with what you guys are dealing with, because I've seen it. I've not seen it in homes here yet because I just got here this afternoon, but I've seen it in homes. It's absurd, and I would be just as frustrated as you guys are with the situation, because you didn't ask for this.
Let me translate for her. But basically, lo que está diciendo él es que una de las condiciones biológicas de este insecto es que se ve atraído por la luz, igual que otros insectos, y que pudiera ser de ayuda el que usted apagara las luces al exterior de su residencia. Eso puede ayudar. Claro, porque la población ahora mismo está tan alta, es tan inusual que se están perdiendo las casas. Pero es por el tamaño de la población tan enorme. Él lo dice que es una situación fuera de lo normal. Lo normal es que esta plaga empiece adentro, no es que se empiece desde afuera hacia adentro. Por lo tanto, básicamente todo lo que se está explicando hoy para hacer en las casas es una ayuda en lo que la fuente principal del problema, que son las nueces, se elimina. Mientras tanto, usted va a tener que tomar medidas de ese tipo en su casa para que pueda un poco mitigar el problema dentro de la casa. Sí. No se atienda a la fuente del problema, que son las cáscaras de nueces, insecticida que usted aplique en su casa, medidas que tome. Nosotros somos... No, señora, nosotros somos una institución aparte del gobierno. Nosotros somos lo que venimos a educar sobre la biología del insecto y cómo poder ayudarle. Pero este problema de las cáscaras le corresponde a las autoridades pertinentes.
To remove the shells ASAP?
The shells have to be removed.
Excuse
They
me?
have to be removed.
Yes.
For you guys to realize relief.
Because
This was the message in Levelland, and this appears to be no different.
Okay, so
if
that
those
they-
shells stay, beetles are going to reinfest them.
Okay, so once they remove them, where will they take them to?
I haven't any idea. I don't
Okay,
know.
so then we do have to go there and ask those questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they could be, I mean, you could imagine they could be treated, and I suppose they could be incinerated, or they could be deposited in an isolated area where you don't have to worry about the beetles flying out, and you can just let them have those pecan shells. And yeah. Yeah. Correct. Right. Because in the removal process, you're going to, because somebody I talked to in the back of the room earlier said that when they were working the shells, the beetles were flying out. That's going to happen. And also, they're going to be driving down the road, likely with trucks, and they may have the screen netting over the top, but come on, these are tiny beetles. You don't want them flinging out all the way down the highway. So we want to treat them first and then remove them. This is, I mean, it's the only obvious recommendation I can make, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
So that,
They're treating now, it sounds like. At the
Okay.
water facility?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
están del PEC.
Everybody's hungry for dinner. All right. So that
I understand your frustration, ma'am. Can,
No hay ninguna.
Kids are traumatized, okay? And you are not moving your ass fast enough.
ma'am, I understand, oh.
A lot of people here that I'm speaking upon for, okay? Because we have a lot of older people, a lot of grandparents that can't speak for themselves, that couldn't be here. And I am pissed off just like I'm pretty sure a lot of people here are. Right now, when they ask you if you had any timeline and you were like scrambling, it's been 4 and 3 months. What have you been doing this whole time? This should have been taken care of and put into action a long time ago. Yes. A lot of us don't have money to keep, oh, go and cover your events, cover your this, cover your that. We've been doing that.
I've gone to some of your homes, maybe not the people that were here, but, oh, okay.
It's been over 3 months. He barely landed here yesterday. Why wasn't this addressed months before?
Months before, they,
It's been over 3 months, ma'am.
yes,
With all due respect-
okay.
With all due respect to all the representatives, it's frustration.
I understand you're frustrated. I'm frustrated too because it's everywhere, ma'am. I'm dealing with it as well. In my home and at the city, we're dealing with it as well. We do have a plan of action. We, yes, I understand. I may not, but
But I think it's, for me, you can go and stay at my house, just one night. You're gonna see all this.
no, I've been to some of the houses.
She took pictures to Socorro, to City of Paso, and they never did anything. They continue pouring and pouring and pouring. See, now they're scraping, see, all those little creatures, they're flying to my house.
Okay.
See?
I understand.
If you say we're gonna use pesticide and everything, well, what's gonna happen in my attic? That's heat. See, I don't have a small house, okay? And my attic's pretty wide. What's gonna happen?
What does it take for you and do the research, the professional people that do the studies in the lab, work and whatever? What do you need to be able to find an answer to do away with these type of people?
yeah, I think the answer is very clear. We've got to treat them, the shells, and then remove them.
And
This
that's-
is, pardon? No, this is not complicated. I mean, it, you know, well, what I mean to say is, okay, I will say this, you know, I experienced this last year as well in Levelland. These guys don't know any more about entomology than you guys know, you know, so when this happened, they probably didn't imagine it would get to this level. But I will tell you that one of my colleagues, Pat Porter, was here 6 weeks ago,
Right.
sampling. So
Yes.
all I'm saying, and I'm not here on anybody's behalf except for people of the state of Texas. And that includes politicians in the room and you guys. The conversation did get started quite a while back. but now it's coming to a head, right? Largely because you guys have leaned into it, right? And you're at meetings and you're asking for answers. So anyway, that's all I would say about that. But I will say that this, again, this is not a complicated scenario. We know the product that is supporting them out in the field. And that product is supporting them to densities that they're becoming problems for you and your houses, right? So the obvious solution is get rid of that stuff. Let's treat it first with insecticide to kill the beetles that are there and get it out of here, right? That appears to be the only solution.
We need a Paso Valley to come and do it.
That I have no purchase over that. You know, what can I say? I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So they are treating.
Will tomorrow everyone who represents Socorro will be in that meeting this sábado?
No, sir. It is a closed meeting. It is a closed meeting.
But all council.
No, it is against the law. It has to be televised. We can't have quorum.
Okay. But who else is going to be with you from the council?
Mr. Rodarte? Mr. Rodarte will be there.
Javier Rodarte is a city manager.
Right, the deputy city manager? No, sir.
But somebody else from council can be with you?
Maybe one or two council members.
Can we have you and Mr. Rudy Cruz be in that meeting? And then we want to hear from you that by tomorrow you will have something for us.
We do have an action plan already. We're going to just be discussing it tomorrow. And as stated, sir, may I don't think that would be fair to all of council. Because it's just another member and then not the rest of council. So I don't think that's fair for the rest of council not to be invited.
We're talking about what the people want, and we want a solution. And I think that you and Mr. Rudy Cruz are good people that will represent us in that meeting. And with your knowledge and his knowledge, I think that we can come together to the solution and have a better understanding of what we're going to do as a city.
If I may say something.
I'm sorry, Ms. Villalobos. I just want to ask, I don't know, the people who are here now, I think that we should have that right to choose who wants to go to that meeting, who has to be in that meeting. It's not about fairness. It's about.
It is about fairness.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, sir.
For me and for them to have these beetles in their home.
Let me just interact right now, okay? We are governed, and those that have been in politics know that we are governed by a law that we have to follow, okay? We can't just run in there and do whatever we want. We cannot do that. We have to, that's why we have an attorney. We have to go to our attorney and ask, can we be there? Will it be walking quorum? You know, we have to ask these questions. Now, I've been to the 2 meetings that we've had with all our state and local officials that have been there, and it's been weeks. It's not that we're not doing anything. I myself called 300 people, one by one, and heard all of your what's going on, and you know, with the beetles. I'm going through it too. I want you to understand that we're here for you. We are your voices, but we are also governed by law. And if law says we cannot, we cannot. But that doesn't mean we can't get together and fight. We can. And that's what I want us to do. We can sit here and talk about everything that you're going through. We're going through it too. Trust me. I'm not at home right now cooking. It's costing me a fortune not to cook, you know, because of everything that's going on. I understand. We completely understand. But we are governed by law, unfortunately. If you were in this position, you would be governed by law. And you'd be sitting here saying, I wish I could do that for you, because I want everything for you guys.
Okay, pero acabas de tener una contradicción, Ms. Villalobos. Dijiste que no más de 2 podían estar porque eso era en contra de la ley.
I didn't say that.
Y acabas de decir que estabas en las juntas con ellos.
No, I didn't say that.
Sí, acabas de decir que.
No, I said I have to consult with legal.
Dijiste que estabas en 2 juntas.
Sí, estuve, yes, I have been, yes.
Entonces, la contradicción es esa.
No, nomás era la mayor de council, nomás era mayor and myself.
Por eso,
Okay.
ahorita lo que estoy preguntando
Sí.
yo es si Mr. Cruz, que Villalobos son parte de
Yes, we will consult with our attorneys to make sure that it's not a walking quorum. Si no es walking quorum, yes, los que quieran venir, ¿verdad? Si podemos invitarlos a ustedes también. Yo estoy con ustedes. No estoy diciendo que no. But I think that if we're all there or more than certain members or a certain number of council, we would have to, I think, announce it, and, is that true, Miss? We would have to announce it, we would have to put it in the newspaper that we're having a meeting, all that has to be, and that's taking time. That is taking time.
Pero, ¿me estás diciendo que tú vas a ser parte de la junta mañana?
Si me dejan, sí, claro que sí.
Pero es lo que me estoy refiriendo
Sí.
yo, que sea Willy Cruz, si se puede, sea Mr. Willy Cruz y Ms. Villalobos y Sábalos, que nos puedan representar en todo el arte. Es lo único que estoy diciendo.
Sí,
Yo
claro.
sé que más tiene algo en contra, pues,
No,
puedo
sí,
decir.
otra vez
Pero-
vuelvo a lo mismo. Si nos dejan, claro que sí, claro que sí. Yo soy de aquí también. I'm a resident, pero
Es que
también
nadie está
tengo el
diciendo
otro
que no
permiso.
es alguien mezclado.
No,
Perdóname, usted que es la city manager y sabe un poquito más de detalles sobre las leyes porque ya tenemos mucho tiempo aquí en la ciudad. ¿Es posible que sean dos personas que entren mañana a la junta? Pero necesitamos saberlo porque se tienen que preparar y se tienen que preparar muy especialmente.
Sí puede haber más de dos representantes.
Sí, entonces sí es posible. Y mi cuestión aquí es que Mr. Willy Cruz y mis Ábalos puedan ser los que nos representen el día de mañana. ¿Sí? Y de esa manera tenemos una opinión no igualitaria, como no tenemos conflicto de interés, sino que son dos personas que sabemos ahorita que están peleando por la silla de alcalde, pero que van a tener una opinión neutral porque va a ser neutral, porque va a ser para la ciudad de Socorro.
Pero ¿de qué le sirve tanta junta y tanta cosa si no hace nada?
No, es que va a ser la junta va a ser mañana.
Mira, estamos aquí supuestamente para arreglar este problema, estamos aquí. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? Nos vamos a ir.
Sí, pero
Y vuelves a hacer otra junta y es lo mismo.
no,
Vuelves a hacer otra y es lo mismo.
la entiendo muy bien, pero lo que yo me refiero es que la junta va a pasar mañana de todos modos.
Pues sí, aunque pase mañana, pasado mañana, el año que entra, el cuando quieras. O
Ajá.
sea, que se va a arreglar el problema.
No, por eso yo estoy pidiendo que sean dos personas que sean neutrales
Así sea
en cuanto a la
bien,
junta.
así sea bien, de Socorro.
Le quiero preguntar una pregunta a usted. Le quiero preguntar permítame. Le quiero preguntar una pregunta. ¿Qué ha entendido de la Junta? ¿Ha entendido que tenemos que, ¿cómo se dice? Pasar por unos requisitos porque es lo que nos tiene amarrados. Sí, se me entiende. Nos tienen amarrados porque son leyes que tenemos que nosotros tenemos que seguir. A lo mejor no les gusta. Sí, es un proceso. Y desgraciadamente, como cuando pasó COVID, que habían juntas acá y acá, lo mismo tiene que pasar aquí para que después nos puedan soltar el poder de hacer más. Pero, y esta señorita misiliana que nos pudo agarrar unos fondos ahorita, están buscando más fondos para ayudarnos. La plaga, no se habló que era plaga hasta que vinieron los expertos a decirnos que era una plaga. Claro que ustedes y yo sabemos que era una plaga, pero hasta que lo anuncien no podemos recibir esos fondos. A eso me refiero que tenemos que pasar el proceso para que nos puedan ayudar, porque no podemos llegar ahí con pistolas y decir, ayúdenme, porque no hemos pasado el proceso. Así trabaja el gobierno, no nos gusta. Yo estoy con usted, mija, yo estoy muy bien con usted, pero no, por eso estoy aquí representando a mi gente, porque sabemos que hay leyes y que se estén esas leyes siguiendo al pie, porque cuando no se siguen al pie no llegamos a nada. Entonces ya vamos para allá, ya estamos allí, hemos hecho mucho, aunque ustedes no lo han visto, sí lo hemos, pero también a nosotros no se puede hacer eso y no se puede hacer el otro. Ok, se puede hacer otra cosa y créame que si estamos, nomás que ya no hay que enojarnos, hay que juntarnos, ¿verdad? Juntarnos primero. Y espero que mañana esa junta nos pueda dirigir un poquito más. Pero él no ha podido terminar de cómo podemos controlar, porque es lo único que podemos hacer ahorita, controlar estos bichos.
¿Puede otro representante con ustedes?
Sí, sí. Nos acaba de decir que sí. Todo simple. Acuérdense, todo esto es nuevo para nosotros. ¿Sí? Sí.
¿Puede ir Rudy o no puede ir?
Sí, si él quiere ir, claro.
I just want to clarify something for everybody. I'm here. I'm in the back. I'm with y'all. It takes 3 voting members of council to meet quorum. So there was 3 voting members of council right now. Nobody batted an eye. But at the end of the day, look, listen. I don't want to be part of this meeting. Tomorrow, yo me voy a presentar en las oficinas del agua. I'm going to get a timeline for y'all. Enough is enough. I'm the one that initiated the first conversation with the VP of Operations. I'm not going to sit at another meeting at our office. I'm going to go straight to them. That's all that I can tell you. Yo me voy a presentar mañana en las oficinas del agua.
Buena idea. Él allá y nosotros acá para hacernos más fuertes, ¿verdad? Buena idea. Sí.
There were a number of questions that were left by folks that needed to leave early, and we're going to work through those if you want to sit with us. But I will share this. 2 of our colleagues, actually our Associate Department Head, Dr. David Kearns, and then Dr. Pat Porter, who I've mentioned many times tonight, he's in Lubbock, and they were texting as we were speaking. I didn't know till just now. But Pat said it was okay for me to share this with you guys. The water utility invited him in to survey beetles. He found them, showed them to him in their presence, and they started mitigation measures, so treating for the beetles. That's all the information I have on that. But this is kind of this is how these things go. It takes a minute, and then pressure builds, and then people start reacting. And I think you're sort of right on the edge of that right now. It's from everything that I'm hearing and learning. And that is a hopeful message, right? Because once action starts getting taken, this is going to come under control fairly quickly. I am almost certain, unless there's mitigating circumstances that I'm unaware of, right? We've got beetles that are infesting pecan shells that are deposited around the counties. Once those get treated and removed, this problem, as it exists right now, will be over for you guys. You'll have to mop them up in your houses, but that's where we can come in and make recommendations. That's the easy part if you're not pressured by a massive density of beetles on the exterior of your home every day, right? It's easy for me to walk people through how to kill these if the population exists solely in their house. That's easy. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you.
The majority of these questions are mostly, I will say, for the government, not for the technical people. So I will give it to you, and we can pass over it. But yeah, there are several questions and concerns that the community is getting. Yeah, later we can talk about it, or we can say it now. Don't know.
Well, are you done with your presentation I mean, ¿están claros de qué es lo que tenemos que hacer de este momento o no están claros de qué es lo que pueden hacer para desmentir?
Mañana a ver qué van a decidir, cuándo van a mover las
Las cáscaras ya se habló, nomás que no dijeron cuándo, ¿verdad? Porque tenían que conseguir comercial, tropas comerciales.
¿Cuándo va a pasar eso? Porque como yo soy la Karen, yo voy y les hostigo todos los días. Lo primero que dijeron que como es un terreno muy grande, son 24 creo que antes, entonces están en 2 partes, no te aparé. Entonces primero, they're going to start this area, the biggest area. They were not putting any veneno or anything like that. They were using some kind of chemical para loosen
No, we have funds now from Commissioner,
Why are you guys gonna pay for something that's in El Paso?
from the state,
The state.
the state. Because this is not just a Socorro issue anymore. It is, like mentioned, it's Tornillo, it's Fabens. We all have to work together so that we don't get reinfested. It's moving. I mean, San Elizario has calls, Clinton has calls. I invited Mayor Chacon, Mayor Cano to these meetings. I invited the commissioners, the AgriLife, Texas A&M AgriLife. We even went over there with a sample because someone said, no, those aren't it, those aren't it. We went over there and we tested the beetles again and they said, yep, these are it, that's what you have. And so we went to somebody's house and picked up a sample, took it ourselves.
And I think, which houses? Which houses?
No,
You never-
we
you never-
got
you
a
never-
sample
you never
from
went
one.
to our house.
What?
And
No,
we're-
I haven't been to your house in particular, but I went to some houses on Angus.
No,
On Angus?
your house was, and your restaurant was talked about
Yes.
in our meeting, just
In
so
our
you
meeting.
know. We know about what happened. We know.
By Dr. Porter.
They said, the gentleman that presented came up and told us that he had been at your restaurant and that you were thinking of shutting down because of what was
I went
happening.
and called the agriculture guys.
Right.
I brought them to my restaurant.
I think it was Dr.
Well,
Porter,
we-
right?
I went, because they know what went. The other bad thing, the next to me is the funeral home. I don't think they came, but they were gonna come. You know how bad it is? And the funeral home, they can't even open the casket. They can't.
That is,
Is that bad?
that's the
Because there's
first time
people
we hear that.
There's people that die, and they can't open them, because they're everywhere. in
So
the funeral home.
imagine, I would want this to go away like this for you. If I could, if I wanted, like, we could fumigate all of Socorro, Tornillo, but what if somebody got sick? Did you think about that? What if a child got
We're
sick?
right now. We're sick of this. My high blood pressure is really high.
No,
I mean, I can't sleep. I'm nervous. I'm always shaking. I mean, I can't sleep.
Yeah, I know, we're frustrated.
Yeah.
frustrated
At
as
night,
well.
o sea, yo, I'm scratching.
But
My-
just
my
know,
dogs,
just,
sometimes in the bed, they have animals in their ears.
yeah, my
I know
point,
we can't be fumigating the house. We did it twice, and one of them got sick. And like I said earlier, I mean, all these people really don't think that it's really dangerous to be mixing chemicals to be cleaning. And that's what I put on my Facebook, on my page. Be careful when you're mixing stuff. You're mixing pine salt with vinegar, and because in Facebook, all the comments on my page, they're telling me, use vinegar and put baking soda, and then all kinds of things.
We actually got that from Dr. Porter.
Pardon?
We got the vinegar portion from Dr. Porter.
So, please, instead of educating yourselves on social media, we've all been
That's
guilty
all
of
I
this.
have.
And
They're
no, it's
listening,
not. No, it's
you know?
not. You have this. That's all my contact information. You call, you read something like that, and you're wondering,
Get the
call me
book for
on the
free.
phone. That's what we do. That's what our agency does. We sit there waiting for the phone ring and help you guys.
Disseminate?
You know?
But I don't know you. I don't know.
Now you do. Now you do.
Dr. Bucket, is this book, this handbook, is this at a library?
Oh, yeah, you can buy it.
Okay,
Kind of.
so we're gonna try to get that book for you. We're gonna,
I
online?
I can get materials. to you.
Okay, perfect. We're gonna get some materials.
But I wanted to throw this slide up. I want you to snap a picture, whatever, or get the PDF when it becomes available of this presentation, because we're there, I'm there for you. I'm giving you my personal contact information, right? If you're hearing something that doesn't sound right, if you got an idea of something to try, call me, let's talk it over. You know, because I have seen lots of problems caused by people being educated by bad actors. Yeah.
Good evening, Dr. Butler. Quick question.
Yeah.
This list of pesticides that you put for interior and exterior, besides putting that information on there, can you go maybe a little bit further and
that website because you can almost find any insecticide that you want to buy on that website. I don't have anything to do with the website. I'm not trying to get you to buy a product from them. But the great thing is, when you find the product page, it also includes the SCS sheet, which tells you about the toxic. Exactly. As well as the label. And the label will also tell you if it's safe to use around, companion animals and children. But what I would caution you, look, any of the insecticides in particular, pyrethroid insecticides, what are we doing with those? We're trying to do what? Kill an animal, right? And we are also animals. So I'm trying, you have to be very careful using insecticides.
Read the label before using it.
Yes, the label is the law.
This that was provided to us, is this that was generated by the Texas A&M? Or is this the list that was generated by the city council?
Yes.
No, that's task orders and all that. And put it on the guide.
It is in Spanish too, and it has links that we can provide the main link of the webpage where all these labels are posted. So you can press each link for each of those pesticides, and it will lead you to the specific label of the pesticide.
Okay. Is it possible to request that the Socorro City Council make these links available at their Socorro webpage? Something that we, the public, can actually go and click on and then do further research?
They're available.
Yes, right now, because the only thing that I see on the website is like the YouTube video. The YouTube video is not gonna like have the hyperlink that you can go and like click.
Yes, but that is online. It's highplainsinsect.net, I believe. And there's a link to red flower beetles, and you can find all that information in your home. Yeah, it's on, that's where I got it for this.
Can you repeat that website?
I will try to find it.
Let me double check it. I believe it's High Plains.
Mr. Puckett, may I add something here?
Sure. Hey, Dr. Porter.
This is Pat Porter. Hi, guys. Yeah, I've been trying to listen. I don't think I ever said anything about vinegar. But I want to explain what's been going on in that 23 acres with the water utility. They have treated twice now, trying to kill the beetles, on my advice. The rationale there is you want to kill the beetles before you remove pecan shells, because if you don't, there's going to be a large flight coming out infesting the neighborhoods. The problem they have been encountering is that they can't get enough water down deep enough. There's some troughs, some low areas, very deep pecan shells, where they can't get the water down far enough to kill all the beetles. And so they've tried and tried various methods, and it's not working. And so one of the options they have is to go ahead and remove all of those pecan shells right now. Flush some beetles out into the neighborhoods, but it'll solve the problem. So it's not like they haven't been trying. They really have. I've been in contact with them for 3.5 weeks. My first visit to Socorro, well, my second visit, they met me at that field and they admitted they had a problem. They said, what do we do? So we picked an insecticide for them to use that was relatively non-toxic to humans, but would kill the insects. Well, and for obvious reasons. This is in a neighborhood. They've been using that insecticide, but because they can't get it to where the beetles are living in those deep troughs, they're not getting good control. But don't think they haven't been trying, because they really have. And that's really all I wanted to say. I mean, Dr. Santiago Gonzalez and Puckett, they're saying what I would have said had I been there. But you're right, the problem is going to go away, but it's going to take a little bit more time. And I'm sorry about all this, but there's really nothing we can do. I think the solutions on the table are going to work. It'll just take a little while longer. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Pat. That feels like a closing note. Are there any? What I said? Yes. So he said on the water treatment facility, he did make recommendations on what insecticide to use. They did take his recommendations. The problem is there's certain areas where the shells are too deep for the insecticide to penetrate, so they're having trouble gaining control. So, I mean, you know, if you imagine what's the obvious next step, well, let's get that turned over and treat, you know, I think that will probably be the next step. I'm just guessing, it's speculation, but yeah, that's what's going to have to happen. This is sort of my message throughout the evening. And just as Pat said, I'm sorry you're having to deal with this. It stinks. And, but there is a solution, and I suspect people are working very hard to pull the levers to get those solutions in place. But it will get solved. This will not be a lifelong battle for you. That's the hopeful message.
Robert,
Yes.
excuse me for a second. Can Pat mention what is the link for the website where all these fact sheets are? I cannot find it here.
Texas High Plains Insects.net. We just found it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Texas High Plains Insects.net.
Well, thank you for your time.
Well, no, yeah, that's the easy part. Yeah, you're welcome, of course. But this is not sort of the end of our experience together. I mean, we'll stay along for the ride with you and do everything we can to help. And again, if you have additional questions that you don't want to ask in public or whatever, this is my contact information. Give me a shout. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry.